in the sustainability elements in the whole G20 narrative. Do watch my interview only on DD Dialogue and DD India.
What happened in the relationships that I had that were so written about and so scandalized so many people. What happened in those things? What happened in my journey from Bollywood to Europe to Hollywood? All that had to be told. I said, if not now, when? If not me, who?
Welcome. It is 7:30 in the evening in India and we are back again with a spotlight on G20. On the show today, we look at developments of day one of the National Youth Conclave and Y20 meetings under the G20 framework in India. Do you know that India is presently 35% urban and expected to be 53% urban by 2047? Future of urbanization and India's prosperity hinges on how well we manage urbanization process and whether it leads to a sprawling of cities or a well-organized city. That was one of the focus areas of the National Youth Conclave. We will delve into that and other issues that came up during the conclave today. I'm Unman Bhattacharya. First up, the top stories. Two-day National Youth Conclave, India's biggest youth summit, gets underway at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi. Conclave brings together young minds to deliberate on Urban 20 and Youth 20 priority areas and foster bright leaders of tomorrow. Day one of the Y20 Inception meeting in Guwahati highlights the role of supreme audit institutions in promoting accountable economics. Discussions take place on priorities like blue economy and responsible artificial intelligence. Comptroller and Auditor General of India Girish Chandra Murmu chairs Y20 Inception meeting in Guwahati. Says, in view of the growing importance of blue economy and artificial intelligence sectors, supreme audit institutions of countries cannot afford to ignore them. Says it is imperative to start working on an auditing framework for them. The two-day National Youth Conclave, India's biggest youth summit, got underway at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi today. The conclave brings together young minds to deliberate on Urban 20 and Youth 20 priority areas and also foster bright leaders of tomorrow. Speaking at the conclave, Union Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs Hardeep Singh Puri termed increasing expenditure on urban development and urban infrastructure as the need of the hour. Next report tells you more on the developments of day one of the conclave.
The second National Youth Conclave 2023, India's biggest youth summit, got underway on Monday in New Delhi. Youth from all over the country, national leaders, experts and innovators converged at Vigyan Bhavan to participate in the conclave being organized by the National Institute of Urban Affairs, with support from the Smart Cities Mission of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Over 2 days, young minds are deliberating on Urban 20 and Youth 20 priorities at the conclave. The conclave offers an opportunity to young minds to learn from each other on how to make cities and communities a better place to live and thrive and foster bright ideas of tomorrow. The first day of the conclave saw a message being shown from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, commending the move to host the conclave and hailing the youth as a significant contributor in nation building. On the occasion, Union Urban Affairs and Housing Minister Hardeep Singh Puri drew a comparison between initiatives undertaken for the youth under the PM Modi-led government at the centre and under the UPA government.
If you look at the cumulative expenditure on the urban sector, that is the value of all the central schemes that the central government initiated between 2004 and 14 in a 10-year period, and you compare that to what happened after 2014, I think the picture is complete. And if memory serves me right, between 2004 and 14, in those 10 years, the cumulative value of all the schemes, the expenditure was 1,57,000 crores. These new schemes were conceptualized post May 2014, but they became operational, most of them in June 2015. If you look at the period June 2015 today, I think the total cumulative expend on the urban sector is over 18 lakh crores.
Kaushal Kishore, Union Minister of State in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, hailed the youth power in India. He also cautioned the youth against the adverse effects of drugs and urged them to stay away from them.
अगर ये राजनीति में भी अगर आपकी बेहतर पॉजिटिव देश के निर्माण के, राष्ट्र के निर्माण के, हिंदुस्तान को दुनिया में टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में, कृषि के क्षेत्र में, रोजगार के क्षेत्र में, विज्ञान के क्षेत्र में, उद्योग के क्षेत्र में और स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में हम अगर दुनिया में नंबर 1 पे ले जाने में सक्षम हो जाएंगे तो समझिए कि आपको जो हमारा देश का जो नौजवान है पूरी दुनिया में नंबर 1 पे छा जाएगा और हिंदुस्तान को फिर से एक हम सोने की चिड़िया बनाने में एक अहम भूमिका निभाने का काम करेंगे.
During his keynote address, the chair of the Y20 Secretariat, Anmol Sovath, emphasized the role of cities in economic development and nation building.
हमारी सभ्यता, हमारी संस्कृति शहरों के बीच केंद्रित रही है और आज जब हमारा देश भारत अमृत काल से स्वर्णिम काल की ओर अग्रसर है तो इसमें शहरों का विशेष योगदान होने जा रहा है.
The first day also saw the launch of compendiums of testimonial articles by 75 Prajatantra youth champions. 75 case studies prepared under SAAR, which stands for Smart Cities and Academia Towards Action and Research, India Smart Cities Fellowship Program, National Urban Digital Mission, the Urban Learning Internship Program, and National Urban Learning Platform. Every smart city is being encouraged to tie up with at least one academic and research institution and prepare at least 3 case studies of implemented projects. These will become reference documents for replication of innovative urban initiatives. 2 exhibitions have been organized on innovative urban projects. Enriching interactive sessions were held on themes such as youth and democracy and governance, youth centrality in urban spaces, creating equal futures in an unequal world, and role of media to enhance youth participation. Bureau Report, DD India.
And joining us now for perspective is Lakshit Mittal. He is the track chair of Y20 India. Such a pleasure to have you, Lakshit, on India at G20. So a whole lot of striking suggestions were made by young minds. Take us through some of the most crucial ones, some of the most crucial suggestions to your mind made on day 1 of the National Youth Conclave, India's biggest youth summit.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for having me. The National Youth Conclave saw very, great deliberations, very excited deliberations from youth all over the country. Youth really participated and deliberated on what are the existing challenges. They really delved into the challenges across various sectors like climate change, healthcare, participation in governance and democracy, also into like what the future of work will look like for them, etc. And they came up with really good suggestions. There is clear focus and there is clear action that the youth recognizes it needs to put up in terms of political participation. They see that they are the educated, and they are the action oriented, they are the technology savvy youth. And then now they need to up their political participation, which has been slightly on the lower side in the recent few years. And they are not just looking at political participation in terms of electing or in terms of standing for elections. They are also looking at political participation passively in terms of information spread. the entire social media gamut that is available to the youth, is they are looking at it from the angle that they can really raise their political voices and put forth a solid agenda for this Azadi Ka Amrit Kal that India is celebrating. Another thing is that the youth realizes that it does not have to be job seekers anymore. In accordance with Prime Minister's vision, the youth is really focused on becoming the job creators for the next century, and they're looking at more than 100 unicorns that India has today, and they're looking to create 1,000 more. And these 1,000 more will not be centered around the metropolitan areas. These will come from, say, tier 3, tier 4 cities. So that is really the energy that the National Youth Conclave saw. And also, like with this, they realized that there is need for sustainable living, which was also one of the topics that we touched. So it was really an exciting deliberation that happened.
Fair enough. You've given us a broad overview of the issues that were discussed on day one of the conclave. On the issue of youth and governance and democracy, which was one of the focus areas of the discussions, how did the youth envision their future in this context?
Yeah, so in terms of power governance and the political participation, they see that there is a lot of challenge. There are a lot of challenges in the urban areas which can be solved with innovative technology, with digital platforms. You see them, we realize the potential, and we benefit from the technology behind UPI, which is one of the flagship programs that we have run and are now exporting to other countries under the India Tech Stack. So the youth is really seeing how their solutions, their innovations, their new ideas can help the country solve governance problems, and which are going to be urban centric as we move towards urbanization. Another thing is that the youth also realizes that urban centers have a different social structure. They realize that there is need for them to hold on to the cultural roots that we have. The motto of G20, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, is what they totally realize, and they are very excited to put it forth and live as one family, to realize urban centers as the new potentials for inclusive spaces, for building inclusive spaces, and then taking them forward to being innovation hubs, not just for India, but also for the world. And then they are also looking at better planning of urban areas, the urban areas that exist and the urban areas which will come forward. And this planning, they're not focused on the next few years itself. They're planning to, they're thinking of planning cities for the next century. So, and that is what will really keep the youth innovation potential up in the next few years.
You've also spoken about the kind of reinvention of urban governance and planning frameworks that the youth can do going forward. On the issue of ensuring water security, sustainable development as a whole, tackling climate change, creating awareness on disaster risk reduction and making infrastructure in future disaster risk resilient. Tell us about, was there nudging towards ensuring environmentally sensitive and responsible behavior in tune with life movement? Was that also a focus area, and what were the views exchanged on that?
Yeah, definitely. See, climate change is something that will be this generation will be most impacted with. We will see, this is the generation that will see the effects of climate change for the first time, as the first generation, right? And they see that there is urgent need that we include sustainable lifestyle. We really attach to Prime Minister's movement of life that he spoke about. And big small scale changes in daily life, like in terms of using public transport, in terms of using sustainable packaging instead of plastic, in terms of also saving electricity or saving water in their daily lives. But also, like this, beyond this very micro individual sustainable lifestyle, they are also looking at the macro agenda. You see how India has pushed solar electricity and how we are moving very fast in terms of e-mobility. And there is a lot of potential of waiting on these fronts so that India can really take this up going forward. We need to manufacture a lot more solar panels. We need to manufacture a lot more electric batteries. We need to manufacture a lot more e-mobility solutions here. And the youth is really trying to innovate, and the youth is really trying to answer these questions for the years to come. Then the youth also recognizes that there will be problems such as demographic changes due to migration from rural areas to urban areas, and also from urban areas at risk to other urban areas. So, and how do you deal with them, these challenges while being socially coherent? That is something that is really the focus area, and to the youth is really deliberating on and finding solutions about it.
And towards the end, one issue that directly concerns the youth is the future of work. Is that whether the youth is prepared or will be prepared for the future of work, for Industry 4.0, for innovation, for 21st century skills? Will they be equipped with the digital skills that are necessary in view of the future of work? So what do the youth think about bracing for that future?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you see, India missed out on the earlier three industrial revolutions due to colonial reasons and other reasons, right? So, but now this Industry 4.0, there is absolute realization that India will have to lead Industry 4.0. India's youth is adaptable. India's youth has the skills to really benefit from what is happening in the digital space, from what is happening in the artificial intelligence, machine learning space. And they are innovating and they are adapting, they are upskilling themselves to build solutions for existing problems on these. If you see, they are really seeing that the services industry, which is which forms a great part of our GDP, we have a very solid skill set in terms of IT, in terms of the digital potential, and now they're going ahead and building skills in terms of data sciences, in terms of how machine learning algorithms can really solve some complex problems which are difficult to solve with a human lens. There is also realization that going forward, as work changes, there will also be challenges related to technological adoption itself. There will be data biases, algorithmic biases that will come in, and that will create problems of its own. So there is already that awareness, and the youth is trying to mitigate those challenges forefront, so that those are not a problem in the future, but already dealt with while we design this basic architecture for future of work. And also lastly, this next few years, when the nature of work will change, India has the right demographic dividend. India is the country which will fuel the world economy going forward. India has been the bright spot in the global economy, and it is centered around youth. So there is that realization that the youth is not going to work just for itself. It's not just looking at work from its individual perspective, but also for the country and for the world.
Absolutely. It's interesting to see how engaged the youth are, how interested they are about their own future, about the policies of the country for themselves and for various sectors of the economy. Thank you so much, Lakshit, for joining us with your views on India at G20.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's move on now. Guwahati is hosting the first Y20 meeting. The three-day meeting started today and was addressed by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, Girish Chandra Murmu. Y20 is an engagement group of G20 that brings together supreme audit institutions and is chaired by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Asim Mishra reports from Guwahati.
Monday marked the start of the three-day first meeting of Y20 in the northeastern Indian city of Guwahati. Y20 brings together the heads of supreme audit institutions of G20 countries. Day one of the meeting focused on the two themes of blue economy and responsible artificial intelligence. Chairing the meeting, Girish Chandra Murmu, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, raised concern on the risks posed to food security by climate change and biodiversity loss, while underscoring the need for sustainable development.
While promoting their sustainable use, producing food and energy, supporting livelihoods, and acting as a driver for economic advancement and welfare, Gantar Pauli, a leading economist in this sector, proposes the blue economy as a model based on technological innovation to supply products at low cost, promote local job creation, and a model that is environmentally conscious and market competitive.
The Comptroller and Auditor General stressed on the potential of artificial intelligence to lead socio-economic growth and benefit citizens and countries through targeted and timely interventions.
Since blue economy and artificial intelligence are both emerging areas, we as supreme audit institutions cannot afford to ignore these prominent sectors. Moreover, it will be imperative for leading size here to start working on an auditing framework and granular checklist, so that auditors not only have broad guidelines
but also specific toolkits to audit these two sectors in meaningful way.
The World Bank representative at the meeting echoed the views of the Comptroller and Auditor General on the pressing need for environmental conservation and sustainable development.
We are very interested on the blue economy. I think the blue economy talks about the health of the oceans, sustainable management of the coastal and ocean resources, and focus a lot on livelihoods. And I think that there's this is very important that this topic is being presented in these meetings, as we see as core for economic development and poverty alleviation.
11 country representatives participated in the meeting from Australia, Brazil, Indonesia, Russia, South Korea and Turkey, among other countries. Amid the growing importance of blue economy and artificial intelligence to the world economy, Y20 aims to work towards developing an auditing framework so that auditors not only have broad guidelines but also specific toolkits to audit the two sectors in a meaningful way. With Bureau Inputs, Asim Mishra's report from Guwahati for DD India.
It was a sight to behold as the capital bloomed in spring. A two-day G20 flower festival was organized by NDMC at Central Park in Connaught Place in New Delhi over the weekend. For participants, China, Japan, Singapore and Netherlands showcased their floral vibrancy at the festival. Dental operations are going to be painless in future. DD India correspondent Ajay Mishra brings us the story of the world's first Nano Robotics startup company. It uses deep tech for curing dental hypersensitivity. The startup was the center of attraction for G20 delegates at the Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru. Take a look.
Devan, what are the solutions that you are working on? Can you please explain in the simple terms? I believe it is you are talking about some dental sensitivity and using deep tech for that.
Yes, so Terra Nautilus is the world's first and only nano robotics company. So nano robotics, let me just explain it. So these are very tiny machines, and they are about 1/100th the diameter of hair, and we can move them using magnetic field inside the human body. Now this is of course something that was imagined to be in science fiction, so people thought this is something where you can put that surgeon inside the human body, go and cure diseases, but right now we are making it into a reality. We are using it in dental spaces because if you look at the human teeth, inside the human teeth there are these very thin tubes, and these tubes there is right now no medical way to intervene there. There is no way to do surgery over there. We are using nanosurgeons to do treatment in human teeth. Of course, we have started with human teeth, but as everyone can understand, nanorobotics will have a lot of application in both brain tumor and also bone repair.
Perfect. Shanmukh Srinivasan is also co-founder of the this company. What are the challenges that you faced, and when are you hitting the market?
So initially, this is not we are working on this company for almost 5 years. So we developed proof of concepts, me and Deban together. So I am from the clinical background, Deban is the engineer and he's a physicist. So we came together with a team. It took almost 5 years. Now the proof of concept is very well established. So we got media coverage when we published the paper. So now the only challenge is to the regulations. So it should be market ready. Just before vaccines, all the tests were done so that it is safe for human beings. We have done part of it, 25%, and 75% is there. And maybe by the end of next year, maybe 24, this product will be in the market, hopefully.
Devan, can you please explain this nano swimmer that you have developed and just give us a demo that what exactly we can understand with this device that you have developed?
Okay. So if you look at the screen, this is an actual image of a nano robot, and this was taken in our lab. So we are using magnetic field to move nano robots. So this is a single nano robot, we can move it back and forth. We have this level of control with these tiny machines. Now, as I said, that there are these tiny tubes in the human body, in the human teeth. We need magnetic field to move them in. So we have developed a very tiny device. So this is a device, and it can fit in the human teeth. So you go to a dental clinic, and during the root canal procedure or during a treatment, the dentist will just put this device, and then you just sit quietly for maybe 10 minutes and the treatment will be done. So this is all done programmatically. They are moving the nanorobots inside the human teeth.
Will it be painful? Like right now we are doing the RTC, people say it's very painful process.
This process is not at all painful. You will never feel anything. It's just So these float in a fluid, in water, and you won't see them. They are so small you cannot see them with naked eye. So you won't feel anything.
Srinivas, your technology is patented, or how will you protect your IP?
Yeah, so we have filed international patents, not just one but multiple of them, and our focus is not just in India but Europe and US also. So it is very well protected internationally, and as Deban said, I will reiterate one more time, so you are the first and only company, Nano Robotics, and it will be a gift to the world from India.
First nano robotic company in the world, a gift from India. That's all in this fantastic story from the ISC Bangalore with camera person Prabhakar. This is Ajay Mishra reporting for DD India in Bangalore.
Indian innovation showing its mark in meeting after meeting, especially in IISc Bengaluru. We leave you now with a closer look at India's rich heritage, vibrant colours and festivities that G20 delegates have been witnessing first-hand through cultural programs or G20 meetings in different parts of India. Catch those glimpses from recent meetings. Namaskar.
डेजर्ट आ गया पर हमारी चैंपियन नहीं आई अब तक। बिल भरने के पहले तो आएगी ना। सुगंध क्या हो रहा है? बिल हो रहा है। चल अपना कार्ड दे। पिन दे।
RBI कहता है अपना पिन, OTP, CVV या इंटरनेट बैंकिंग पासवर्ड किसी को ना दे। ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग सिर्फ अपने ही कंप्यूटर, मोबाइल और सिक्योर नेटवर्क से करे। हाँ, ये खाने की चैंपियनशिप थी क्या? RBI कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
Since blue economy and artificial intelligence are both emerging areas, we as Supreme Audit institutions cannot afford to ignore these prominent sectors. Moreover, it will be imperative for leading size here to start working on an auditing framework and granular checklist so that auditors not only have broad guidelines but also specific toolkits to audit these two sectors in meaningful way. We as Supreme Audit institutions have an opportunity to ensure that journey of exploring the oceanic resource does not follow the same path as exploitation of land.
Watch India at G20 at 7:30 PM IST today on DD India.
कब तक लंबी लाइनों में उम्र बिताइएगा? डिजिटल पेमेंट अपनाइए, चुटकी में हल पाइए। पुराने तरीके कब तक अपनाइएगा? डिजिटल पेमेंट बहुत आसान है, देखिए चुटकी में पेमेंट चुकाइए। बटुआ ढूंढ रहे हैं? डिजिटल पेमेंट अपनाइए, कभी भी कहीं भी और सुरक्षित। हमने तो इन्हें डिजिटल पेमेंट करना सिखा दिया है, आपने? RBI कहता है कि डिजिटल पेमेंट अपनाओ,
औरों को भी सिखाओ।
A world exclusive DD dialogue with Atul Bagai, country head UNEP India. How India continues to spearhead the larger discourse of sustainable development and most importantly combating the triple planetary crisis.
India brings its vision, India brings its thought leadership, India brings also its technology. India hasn't fought these at the international level just for India. We used to fight for the developing countries as a whole, and India used to take leadership. And I think that leadership is very, very important for taking this forward. How India during its G20 presidency is bringing in the sustainability elements in the whole G20 narrative.
Thanks for staying with us on DD India. You're watching a world exclusive DD dialogue with Atul Bagai, country head UNEP India. Well, in this freewheeling